It was a story that touched hearts across the nation. A judge recognizes a defendant charged with burglary as an old classmate and encourages him to turn his life around.
Okay, Mr. Booth, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go to Nautilus for middle school?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
I'm sorry to see you there. I always wondered what happened to you, sir.
Imagine walking into a courtroom, possibly the most intimidating day of your life. You're sitting there, surrounded by lawyers, a jury, and a judge presiding over your fate. Suddenly, the judge looks at you and there's a moment of recognition. That's what happened in Miami in 2015, when a judge recognized the defendant as her friend from middle school. This heart-wrenching yet bizarre encounter is a reminder of how paths in life can drastically diverge. Before we know more details about that day, first let's talk about the judge. Mindy S. Glazer was born and raised in Florida and has had a long-standing career in the legal field. She completed her undergraduate degree at the University of Florida before attending the University of Miami School of Law, where she obtained her law degree. Her early exposure to the importance of education and her passion for justice drove her to pursue a career in law. After earning her degree, Glazer quickly established herself in the legal community by working in various capacities. She began her career as an attorney, practicing law in different fields before eventually becoming a judge. In 2000, she was appointed as Miami-Dade County Circuit Court Judge, where she's since handled numerous criminal and civil cases. But if we look back at her childhood, she attended Nautilus Middle School in Miami Beach during the late 70s and early 80s. Like many others who grew up in the area, she likely never thought she'd encounter a childhood friend under such grim circumstances years later. The defendant in this case was a man named Arthur Booth. His criminal activities began at a young age, primarily revolving around drug-related offenses. His initial encounters with law enforcement stemmed from his struggles with addiction, which often led him into a cycle of petty theft and other crimes to support his habit. Over the years, he was arrested multiple times for armed burglary and robbery. His first significant charge was related to armed burglary, which typically carries severe penalties due to the potential for violence. His criminal record also included several drug-related charges. These offenses often resulted in short-term incarcerations, rehabilitation attempts, and probation. However, his addiction continued to pull him back into the criminal justice system. There were instances of violent crimes associated with his earlier offenses. Reports suggest that he may have threatened individuals during his robberies, which could have elevated the seriousness of his charges. In 2015, he was arrested on multiple serious charges. These include burglary, grand theft, reckless driving, and resisting arrest without violence. His criminal activities began with the theft of a Honda Accord, which had been reported stolen. Law enforcement had been monitoring the vehicle due to its involvement in ongoing burglary investigations. The situation escalated when police attempted to pull him over. Instead of stopping, he fled, initiating a high-speed chase through the streets of Miami. This reckless driving put both Booth and others at risk as he maneuvered through traffic at dangerous speeds. Eventually, the chase ended when he crashed the stolen vehicle. After the crash, he exited the car and attempted to escape on foot. However, law enforcement quickly apprehended him, ending his attempt to evade arrest. Upon his arrest, Booth faced significant legal repercussions. This involves the unlawful taking of someone else's property valued above a certain monetary threshold, which in Florida is typically over $300. Now, let's zoom into that fateful day in 2015. Booth, who was 49 at the time, appeared before Judge Glazer in a Miami bond court. As he stood in front of her, she immediately recognized him as a former classmate from middle school, which sparked an emotional reaction from both of them.
My goodness. Oh, my goodness.
I'm sorry to see you there. I always wondered what happened to you, sir.
Oh, my goodness.
This is the nicest kid in middle school.
Oh, my goodness.
He was the best kid in middle school. I used to play football with him, all the kids, and look what has happened. I'm so sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
During the hearing, Judge Glazer asked him, "Did you go to Nautilus for middle school?" The recognition hit Booth hard, leading him to exclaim, "Oh my goodness," before he broke down in tears. The courtroom atmosphere shifted dramatically as the judge shared memories, describing him as the best kid in middle school and recalling how they had played soccer together. She then poignantly remarked on how much they had both aged, saying, "What's sad is how old we've become." This moment highlighted the stark contrast between their past and present lives. At the same time, it evoked a sense of nostalgia and regret. Judge Glazer, visibly emotional yet still composed, acknowledged their shared past. She expressed her sorrow, telling him, "I'm sorry to see you here. I've always wondered what happened to you." Her words carried a mix of empathy and sadness, as she realized her old friend had taken a very different route in life. She felt empathy and told him, "I hope you're able to come out of this okay and just lead a lawful life," reflecting her genuine concern for his future.
Good luck to you, sir. I hope you're able to come out of this okay and just lead a lawful life.
The judge set his bond at $43,000, and he was subsequently sentenced to 10 months in jail. Despite the somber circumstances, the interaction resonated deeply with many viewers, showcasing the human side of the judicial system. But it's not the end of the story.
Take care of your family, try and get a job, stay clean. You're going to do something good for somebody else. That's what you got to do. It's a group effort to see you succeed. Don't let us down.
I won't. I promise not to.
Everyone's hoping that the next time they meet, it'll be at a class reunion.
The emotional courtroom moment quickly gained media attention in 2015. It went viral instantly. The story struck a chord with people around the world. It's not just because of the odd coincidence, but because of its deeper implications. It was a stark reminder of how different life choices and circumstances can lead people in opposite directions, even when they come from the same place. In April 2016, when Arthur Booth was released from Miami-Dade County Jail after serving, it was a significant moment filled with emotion and nostalgia. Judge Mindy was there to greet him alongside his family. The meeting highlighted her commitment to supporting him beyond the courtroom. Upon seeing him, she expressed her concern and shared heartfelt advice. Take care of your family, try and get a job, stay clean. You're going to do something good for somebody else. Her words conveyed not only encouragement, but also an expectation for him to make positive choices moving forward. This moment was about more than just his release. It was an opportunity for Booth to reflect on his past and consider the path ahead. Judge Glazer emphasized the importance of community support in his rehabilitation, stating, "This is a group effort to see you succeed. Don't let us down." These words underscored the collaborative nature of rehabilitation and the idea that Booth's future was not solely in his hands, but also in the hands of those who believed in him. Booth, visibly emotional during the reunion, promised, "I won't. I promise not to." His response highlighted his awareness of the weight of expectations resting on his shoulders and the hope for a brighter future. Now let's fast forward to 2024. What has happened since then?
But now, years later, he's in trouble again. And yes, he ended up in front of the same judge. Here's Les Trent.
Arthur Booth's journey after his release was far from easy. Despite his efforts to stay on the right path, the struggles of addiction and finding stable work after incarceration were major hurdles. Like many former inmates, reintegrating into society was challenging, especially with a stigma of a criminal record hanging over him.
Arthur Booth served 10 months in prison on the burglary rap. He was released in 2016. And guess who gave him a pep talk? Fast forward 8 years later. Sadly, Booth is in trouble once again.
In 2024, he was arrested for a series of alleged robberies and burglaries in Miami. In one case, he allegedly convinced an elderly man that he was a plumber and violently robbed him while he was inside his house.
Booth was so embarrassed, he couldn't bear looking her in the eye.
Can't hear your case. I'm going to get another judge to hear it, okay? So if you have a seat, somebody else will be here. Hope things work out for you better.
In the end, his failure to learn from his past mistakes highlights a painful reality. Not everyone can turn their life around, and the cycle of crime often continues. We appreciate you watching this video. Be sure to give us a like and don't forget to subscribe for more great content like this, and we'll see you in the next one.